Hello and welcome to a test of WRC 7, the new official World Rally Car game from Kyloton Studios. We're just going to be looking at a few things here about the game and some first impressions. So here we are at the main menu. It's very simple. It's almost identical to 6. I don't care about menus. It does what it needs to do, and that's fine with me. We jump into solo mode. We've got a quick game. Quick game, you can do single stage, you can do single rally. Here you choose your rally, you choose your stage, or all of them. You can choose time of day, weather. There is no dynamic weather, but it's set right here. And then we've got career mode. Every racing game has to have this. It's pretty boring. It's almost identical as number 6. They've added some dumb things like getting text messages from your teammate. But yeah, it's just starting in junior WRC, moving up to WRC 2, and then to WRC. There's really nothing exceptional about it, but it can be a pretty good challenge with the harder difficulty levels, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And besides that, you can do a custom championship. This is a very interesting mode. It can add a lot of longevity to the game. Basically, you create a championship, and you can add whichever rallies you want in whatever order you want. Just give it a name, pick your car. Of course, we've got all the official cars of the 2017 World Rally Championship. I'll take Chris Meek, of course. Poor guy. Gotta leave him alone. So once we get into the configuration screen, you choose the rallies you want. They show up there on the right. And then you go in and edit them. And okay, well there I messed up. Went straight to the first rally, so once this is finished, we'll go back to the configuration screen and show how we edit rallies. But it's a very nice mode to have this. I wish there were more stages in the game. There's about 400 kilometers in total, about 25 to 35 kilometers per rally, which is it's good distance. It's quite a bit of content to play with, but we'd like to see a little bit more, especially since the epic stages are just the smaller stages put together. So now this time we will go into configuring Monte Carlo, and you will see that it allows you to choose which stages you want over 3 days. So once you just add whichever stages you want, and then you go race, and of course it shows all of your results just like a regular rally. So this is a really nice option because in the career mode the rallies tend to be very short, usually 5 or 6 stages only. So this allows you to get a little more in depth and create some more difficult conditions, maybe where damage can be more of a factor. Damage is pretty well modeled in the game. It's a little bit forgiving, but it's easy to blow a tire. And if you spend a lot of time off-road, you will break the car. We're going to go to the driving test in a little bit, show some gameplay. For now, we're going to go back to the main menu. Look at the multiplayer options. Pretty standard stuff. You've got online multiplayer. Quick game, we'll just jump you into any game available. Find lobby, we'll do search lobbies. The criteria is useless because it's pretty much what everyone uses. Or you can create your own lobby. Of course, you can invite people. It's for up to 8 people at once, everyone with a ghost car. And it can be single stage or whole rally, and of course times are tallied in both modes. It's a lot of fun. It works very well, but it is very normal. We've also got 2-player split screen, something that's not very common anymore these days, and something even less common is hot seat. This is a great mode to have fun with your friends at home. Up to 8 players, you add, pick their cars and their driver, and then they go one by one. You pick your stage. It's stage only, not whole rally, stage by stage. So the first guy goes, And then he gives the controls over to the second guy, and the second guy sees the first guy's ghost car. And then the third guy goes, and the fourth guy goes, successively until everyone's finished. Each player will see the ghost of the fastest player up to that time. And then when everyone's finished, you can look at the final standings and find out who wins. A lot of fun. Really, really great to see modes like this in games today with all the focus online. It's a lot of fun. Challenges, weekly challenges. These are things that change weekly. In WRC 6 there were 2 at any given one time usually. It seems like for now there's only 1 here, but this is just a time trial in Monte Carlo. You're locked to Sébastien Ogier with the Ford. There's no score modifier, which means that there's nothing disabled. Sometimes they'll throw something at you like disabled handbrake, or they'll take points off for using or for drifting. It kind of just things to shake stuff up once in a while. You can do it however many times you want, but the most points are assigned for the first run. So it's you need to really get it right on your first run, because on your successive runs it'll be harder to get close to those points. And global leaderboard, so you can see who you're running against, where you're standing. Driver card shows a lot of statistics about what you do in the game. Quite a bit of information there. Obviously we got online leaderboards for all the stages, but let's jump into the options. It's pretty bare bones on options, but pretty much the same thing as WRC 6, which you'll see here. Start with driving style. I use simulation with manual transmission and assists off. You've got amateur, which is assists on, and automatic transmission, no damage. Bump that up to semi-pro, it adds damage. Bump that up to pro, and it takes the assists off. And simulation mode is manual transmission, assists off, and damage activated. That's the way I play. I think it's the way the game was meant to play. Everyone should play that way. Difficulty, playing on hard. Hard is tough. Easy and medium are pretty hard, easy to beat, but hard is tough. Hardcore, I won't even go there. But with hard, sometimes the bots, the AI can do times that are pretty close to current world records. So it's a big challenge here. If you make a mistake, you will not win the stage. It's nice to see the difficulty high like that. Co-driver options. The co-driver is horrible in English. We all know that. The guy is totally annoying. I hope for WRC 8 they give him some Valium or change him. But you can change between detailed and simple pace notes. This game has curves 7, 8, and 9 added to the traditional 1 through 6 when it's detailed. So if you like, that can be useful for when in other games you've got a left 6 coming up and you're not really sure if it's flat out or not. Well, here they would call it an 8 or 9, and you know you can just take it flat out. Same thing with hairpins. The detailed will give a little more information, like off camber, rocks inside, things like that. Same thing with the hazards, bumps in the road. The co-driver is very precise. The notes are well done. He very rarely makes a mistake, and even on the default setting they tend to come at decent times, but some of the more complex stages he'll be off. I'm using ahead right now. Probably move to far ahead pretty soon because I like having them well in advance. Colorblind mode, I have no idea what that does. And another nice thing here, especially for someone like me who lives outside of my native country, you can change the co-driver language without backing out of the game and changing your whole system language. That's really good. Typical HUD options, I play with minimal. I don't like timers and progress bars and pace note arrows. They distract me, so I leave it all off. Just got the speedometer on and the damage indicator, which only shows up when you actually do some damage to the car. There's no field of view options here at all. You can only move the seat forward and backwards between these 5 presets. I like very close because that way you can't see the wheel and hands of the driver. you cannot remove the wheel and hands of the driver, which is very annoying because they distract me, so I'm forced to play very close. External camera distance, no one playing these games should be using external camera, but if you do, it actually works pretty good in this game. Controller settings, wireless controller. This game plays really good on the gamepad, and I mean really good. It's a little bit twitchy out of the box, got to lower the sensitivity a little bit, but it's extremely playable with the pad. Haven't seen a rally game this playable with the pad, I think, since the Evolution Studios games back in the day. Now the wheel, I'm using a Logitech G29. It doesn't have a lot of options, and none of them are explained. They might seem intuitive, but they're really not. The worst one here is steering sensitivity, which comes default at 50%, and it makes the car really, really twitchy. The problem is, as you go lowering steering sensitivity, the car becomes much more controllable and it feels better, but you lose a lot of response at low speed. No one really knows what this setting does, and everyone has trouble getting this one exactly where they need it. In WRC 6 I used 30. That was way too low in this one, so I bumped it up to 40, and I'm doing 40 for now, and everything feels pretty good. A little bit unresponsive at very low speeds, makes chicanes a little bit hard to take sometimes, but for now these are the settings that are giving me a pretty good feeling with the car. The great thing about this game is you can change these settings on stage through the pause menu. You do not have to go back to the main menu, so you can make adjustments on the fly and try them out right there. That's excellent. There's a lot of car games that do not allow you to do that. Force feedback level, I dropped that way down. I don't want to break my wheel, and two, I don't like arm wrestling. I like driving cars, so I found 50 to be a nice balance for me. Others would probably want to go a little bit higher. Force feedback vibration, kept that at maximum. That's the default. Feel the bumps in the road and everything, a little bit of the suspension work. I think leaving that on 100% is pretty much necessary. And the max wheel angle defaults at 550 degrees. I leave it at 550 degrees. It's what most WRC drivers use. But for anyone who's struggling with the steering sensitivity, they can maybe make some tweaks here and get the car a little bit more or less responsive than they need to. Acceleration sensitivity, not sure what that does. I've since brought it back down to 0. It defaults at 20, and it seems like the throttle's a little bit easier to modulate on 0, so I'm pretty sure that's a pretty bad default setting there. Button bindings, you can remap everything. The only change I've made here is map the handbrake to my gear shifter, 4th gear, and rubber band the thing into 3rd gear, so I pull it back and it goes back by itself. Nice solution. Alright, so we've gone through all of the options, we've seen the main menu, we know what the game has. Let's jump into the driving test. This is the second of the 2 stages that the game presents you with when you first start the game. It's basically you run through Pfei in Portugal, and it scores you depending on your time and how much damage you took. So this is a nice place to just show some initial gameplay. There's the famous jump at the end of the stage. The stages are fictitious, but they do have a lot of real-world landmarks. You will recognize a lot of stuff. So the countdown starts. This stage, this driving test always defaults to the external view. We'll just go a few meters in the external view so you can see what it looks like. I cannot drive any driving game in external view, so I'll quickly turn this off. But as I said before, it's very playable in exterior view, according to some buddies of mine. Here's the cockpit view. This is usually my go-to view in any driving game. I like the immersion. I like being able to see the instrument panel, but for some reason in WRC 7, it just doesn't do it for me. It gives me this floaty feeling. I don't like how the camera moves around. I don't know, there's just something that doesn't sit well with me here, so I've gone to the hood cam. We'll switch to the hood cam here shortly. And the nice thing, the hood cam gives you a great sense of speed, and it also really allows you to enjoy the hood cam allows you to really enjoy the great detail that Carleton has put in the stages this time. Really, they're fantastic. The draw distance is really, really, really far away. I mean, there's practically no pop-up. Graphics on the PS4 Pro, 2K. It looks good. Nothing spectacular. Better textures, better shadows. Now, big miss here is 30 frames per second. This is a biggie with racers, and this is really the only real big flaw on the game that we should really, take points off the dev for that, because 30 FPS in a racing game these days is really inexcusable. That said, it's a solid 30 FPS. Very solid. It does not drop frames. There's no slowdown anywhere. They've gotten rid of the screen tearing completely. But, locking at 30 FPS, I think the graphics might have been a little better, but as you can see, trackside objects, there's lots of detail, there's lots of things around there. The stages are greatly improved. They're a lot more narrow in a lot of places. They're more bumpier. They're great to drive on. Really, it gives you that dirt rally feeling. This is a game that gives you that rally sensation that Dirt Rally did, where you're on the edge of your seat, you are on the edge, you're on the limit all of the time, 3 millimeters away from disaster. Here we got transitions that are typical in places like Portugal and Australia. You can definitely feel the difference between the different surfaces, asphalt, gravel, wet and dry surfaces, snow, ice. Really, the change in the grip conditions is very, very perceptible, very well done. We'll talk a little more about the physics in the future. Just say for now that I'm pleasantly surprised by what they've put together here. But it does get a little weird when you get off track, as we'll see here. I'll do some antics. The car doesn't really behave very normally when you hit rocks and go over the little hills that are on the side of the road. Something that can be worked on, but the whole idea of rally is staying on the road, so it's not that big of a deal. Well, the physics, they've really done a wonderful job. They've completely redone it, and it's pure simcade, and it is a great simcade. It's correct, it's intuitive, it's not complex, it's not a simulator, but sim fans will get a lot out of the handling model. You can play with the weight of the car, you can feel the weight of the car, and these cars are very powerful, these 2017 models, and you'll notice how fast they are if you're coming from Dirt Rally or Sebastian Loeb, and you'll also notice how fast they are if you jump into one of the 2006 WRC cars or the R5s. These cars have incredible acceleration, incredible grip. But the physics engine lets you get them loose. You need some throttle modulation to keep them spinning out in the slides. You need to set up your slides really well. You need to transfer weight. It works really, really well, and I'm very impressed and surprised to see such a competent physics model finally in one of the official World Rally Championship games. This is physics detail we haven't seen since the Evolution Studios days. So we finish here, and they show you your scorecard. Obviously, ours will be very low because we were messing around with cameras and things. They suggest settings for you, which I will decline right now. I'm going to stay on my simulation settings. But stages are great. There's quite a lot of content, quite a lot of stages to keep you busy. The epic stages, bit of a disappointment. They are basically the 2 or 3 short stages strung together. I've only done the Monte Carlo one. That one, at least, is all of them in reverse, so it's like playing everything brand new. But I have heard that some of the other ones have the regular forward versions of the stages strung together. That's a bit disappointing, but well, they are impressive. It's something else to be racing for 13, 14, 15 minutes. It's exhilarating. Really, really great rally sensation from this game. Second only to Dirt Rally. Actually, in some cases, it's even better than Dirt Rally. It's just really great. Both this and Dirt Rally, they're both simcades. Dirt Rally has issues with its handling model. So does this. They're both fun. I think anyone who enjoys Dirt Rally will really enjoy this. But all right, so let's jump in to see some tarmac here in Monte Carlo. And well, what else can we say about the physics? You know, not much. It's just well done. Monte Carlo, not on this stage, but there are stages that are mixes of snow and tarmac. You can definitely feel the change in grip, and the cars behave correctly. It's a nice, intuitive handling model. The damage system, it could be better. It's basically taken from WRC 5 and 6. Both of those games were pretty much abominations. WR6 was a big improvement, but still had its issues. Here, this time they've put something nice together. The damage model is nothing to write home about. You can damage your car. You can end your rally. The sounds. That's another thing that was pretty bad in 5 and 6. They're better here, but they're just passable. It's nothing nothing to get excited over. Nice turbo sounds, nice pop-off sounds from the exhaust, nice exhaust notes. Nice transmission whine, depending on the view you're using. On gravel stages, I use a 7.1 surround system, and it's great on the gravel stages. You can hear the rocks, ricocheting off the bodywork through the surround speakers, both left and right. Really nice details. It's very immersive. The sound does its job. It's nothing spectacular. No one can come close to Codemasters with the sound. Now, we got to talk about force feedback. That's very, very important in any driving game. The force feedback here in WRC 7, it works. But that's it. That's about all we can say about it. It provides the necessary feedback you need to know what the car's doing. It's obviously not on an Assetto Corsa level, but for a pure simcade like this, it's well done, and it transmits the feelings that you need to feel. Definitely could be better, but for now, for the package that they've put together here, the short time they've been developing the official games, Kyloton's done a decent job with force feedback. Vibration is a little bit weak. I probably like a little bit more over the bumps, but it also transmits what you need to feel. And well, as long as we're watching, let's see, we're here on the hood cam. You can see on this stage, raced at dawn, there's a huge improvement in the lighting system. It looks nothing like WRC 6. It looks really nice, just really, really nice. Really nice graphical improvements here. I really can't stress how nice looking the stages are. Like I said, I'd like a little bit more fidelity in the graphics, especially on the PS4 Pro, but this is more than serviceable. It's above Dirt 4 level. It doesn't quite get at Dirt Rally level. Obviously, it's light years ahead of Sebastian Loeb. But yeah, so it works, and the stages are nice, the rallies are nice, the ambiance is excellent. Kyloton has reproduced the ambiance in the different rallies. They've really done a good job with that. You really feel like you are driving in Monte Carlo or Australia or Germany with the vineyard sections and the Panzerplatte section. We don't do any super special stages here in this video, but I think there's 8 of them, and they're one-to-one recreations, pretty faithful recreations of the real super special stages that are usually urban for 2017. It's a nice addition. They're a lot of fun. A bit short at most times. Sometimes I wish they would have spent more time, appropriating a real stage. But for sure, for WRC 8, I hope we'll see some more content now that Kyloton is finally starting to get the graphics and the physics down. So here we go. Another nice feature. When you finish the stage, it doesn't jump straight to the results screen anymore. It shows you a little slow motion of the car. That's really nice. Now, the replays. Yeah, the replays still suck. I don't know what is keeping these guys from making good replays. There's still way too many fixed cameras, as you can see here. The fixed camera looking out the back is just ludicrous. Lots of interior views. Thank God they've gotten rid of that fixed camera that was in front of the car staring at the front bumper, because that was really bad. You can still only choose between this normal TV coverage, which is just random flipping through the cameras, or helicopter. And if it's on helicopter, it's locked on helicopter. The only problem with helicopter is the game sometimes it just struggles to know if it can even see your car. So a lot of times the helicopter gets stuck behind a mountain, and all you're just looking at is the mountainside. You can't even see the car, and that can go on for 10 or 15 seconds. So yeah, the replays really have to be improved. You know, I mean, they're serviceable. To Kyloton's credit, Dirt Rally also spends quite a bit of time with these types of side pod and dash cams in their replays. So you know, they changed that a lot in Dirt 4. I would like to see more of a Dirt 4 kind of replay system. As long as we're mentioning Dirt 4, I haven't mentioned it yet. I do not like the game. I think it's a complete abomination physics-wise. Codemasters have completely abandoned the game. It's unfinished, untested, buggy. Don't like the handling. For those of you who like the way Dirt 4 handles on simulation mode, you might not like this game too much, because this game is a lot closer to Dirt Rally than it is to Dirt 4. But going back to the replays, there's another criticism that Kyloton has always gotten for their games, which is the handling model. Well, they've got the handling model, they got that squared away this time, but in the replays, the car still, especially right here, in the TV cams, the car just looks like it has this unrealistic, you know, movement where it's kind of just jerking around. And a lot of people have watched replays of the previous titles and say, yeah, look at this physics, it's just ridiculous. Well, they haven't fixed that in the replays. The nice thing is, in WRC 6 and in WRC 7, you do not feel that when you're in the car. I have a feeling that it's just, they may not have optimized the code for the parameters that are stored in memory while you're driving. They haven't optimized the code to really translate into exactly the fluid movements that your car is making in the TV cam replays. So don't worry about that. I know it's a bit, it's easy to, it can put you off. It does look very unrealistic at times, but I can guarantee you that you do not feel anything like that in the cars. So, well, we're getting to the end of the stage here. I'm going to sign off. I just got a few more hairpins here. Hope you liked the video. I think this is a must-buy for any rally fan. Kyloton has really upped their game with this one. They're really starting, I think, to get to a point where they always wanted to be. They've listened to the community with the longer stages, the harder stages, the better physics model. Lots of tweaks here. The game is definitely worth it whether you've played the previous titles or not. This gives a rally experience just on the level of Dirt Rally. It's extremely enjoyable. It definitely worth picking up. So we'll see you next time.